Now we're approaching one more presentation, increasing value and visibility through collaboration to promote business sustainability. And for that, I would like to introduce to you TaJuanna M. Taylor, founder and principal consultant of Bootstrap Dreams, LLC. And TaJuanna has over 15 years of demonstrated consulting expertise. TaJuanna has a well-earned reputation for her ability to cultivate and mobilize a business vision and team. She has real-world experience in small business and state government administration and has received over 9 awards for leadership, social impact, contribution, exemplary service, and implementation. And I see TaJuanna is already with us online. Hello, TaJuanna. Oh, we cannot hear you. I don't know why. Is your mic on?
It might have been that inevitable mute.
Oh, yeah, everything is fine. Now we can hear you. So, TaJuanna, before I give the floor to you, I would like to say that to the audience that TaJuanna is a public speaker and the co-author of the Amazon bestseller, Say Yes Every Day, Thrive Thursday. So, TaJuanna, today is Thursday. Thanks, God.
That's right. Thank you so much. All right. Hopefully we have the screen available with the presentation. Let's see.
Yes, everything is fine.
Everything is fine. All right. Great. So going through this talk today, when we think about the concept of increasing value and visibility through collaboration, I first want to say thank you so much. Thank you to this conference. Thank you, Edita, Ingra, everyone involved for inviting us all here to share in this space. It's so essential that we recognize do it yourself doesn't mean do it alone. And we know that this couldn't have happened without all of the insight, all of the input, and all of the interest that has been shared to bring us here today. So this is really exciting. When we look through this talk, and we think about, well, let me go back to the disclaimer, forgive me. So as you know, these insights that we're sharing, everything that we're discussing today, everything that I'm going to converse with you today, because this is a conversation, these insights and opinions expressed in the following slides in this talk are those of mine as an individual presenter. During this conversation, we're going to have the pleasure of going through, the very important opportunities that we have in knowing what it means to collaborate, knowing what it looks like to be not just about ourselves and not just what we want, but in the presence of others and how to navigate people, personalities, so that we get them involved and get them incorporated in what it is that we need to happen as project managers, as professionals, as leaders. Oh, forgive me, I'm having some screen trouble here. All right, let's see if I can get caught up.
It's a technology.
I appreciate you all. All right. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, but we see that the line is breaking, so.
You see it breaking? Okay. I'm going to try to do one more thing to bring this back in view. I hope you all still have access to
it. Yeah. Now the slide has changed.
Okay. All right. So as we move through the presentation, the encouragement is that you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Sabotage is one of the most unintended, and let's be honest, sometimes intended consequences of resistance. There is a fear of being found out. There is a worry of job loss or being replaced when a project management professional comes in. There's a looming threat that comes by way of change, right? Organizational transitions. There's resistance. Resistance can show up in the form of anger, sometimes stubbornness. And if buttons are really pushed with the right amount of pressure, you might have even encountered rage. As a project manager, a project professional, sometimes the biggest role we seem to have is to babysit. Just kidding. I mean, facilitate co-working sessions of some kind. Or sometimes you feel like you're snitching in a more diplomatically correct way. We're giving a current project status report, right? What's happening now? What didn't happen? Who was responsible for it? How much longer it will take? How much more time the SME, the subject matter expert, will need? What will it cost ultimately? Other times, the role is the story we get to tell. In other rooms, it might be the story you're voluntold to tell. When you have great leaders, you'll be supported. If you have effective leadership, there'll be data. If you have micromanagement, well, that'd be disguised as leadership. And we all know that we really don't want to perpetuate what that looks like because it stifles progress. How many of us can recall in our own experiences and in the experience of others anything like this? These encounters, these thoughts, these tasks even that have been mentioned. Who will even be bold enough to say that the stifle to progress at some point in time might have been you? Only paying attention to what you could see, only focused on one way to get things accomplished, only driven by what you thought was super important or needed in that very moment. At some point in time, without proper guidance or the right amount of pressure, we've all been guilty. And so the business that promotes our future and others, right, is project management. That's our way. That's our pathway. Sustainability. With the combined project expertise in the room, we'd easily accumulate a few centuries of experience. So I know that you'll understand firsthand when I express a plan as a roadmap, and it's certainly not a guarantee. With everything that we've all been through since the onset of 2020, I think I can ask the question, are you with me, right? When your plan is reliant on people and not machines, you can expect a detour or even a few. From the critical path, those detours will not be the paths of least resistance. You might find yourself walking, then crawling, jogging, then canoeing. You might get lucky enough to get helicopter lifted, to get close up to the peak of the mountain, but only to be propelled down the side of it, where you're going through the valley of that current situation, the valley of that development, the valley of structuring new teams. And if you have children, you might even feel like the floor is lava. You're just doing anything to stay off of it, right? And you're looking around and you recognize the community that you thought you had by way of location. Well, they failed to communicate. They're moving out of the building. They're leaving, right? Again, we've all been through this recently in the name of the pandemic and have had to significantly change the way we work. While project management in and of itself, working remotely, is not a new thing. It's a new thing in the magnitude in which the world has been doing it. And so I've been there. It was the year 2017, particularly. The project started 3 times, meaning it stopped 2 times, changed hands 2 times, and procured a canned SaaS application that was never designed to do what the office who owned the project needed in the first place. Where was the project management, you ask? Well, that's what those in the PMO office were wanting to know too. We were just as shocked as some of you might be. When the director of the PMO at that time caught wind of this initiative that was already happening, he was absolutely appalled. But he wasn't rattled, if you will. You see, he was a military veteran. And so he basically came to our team and said, you know what we have to do. We have to go in there with finesse. We have to find the real problem, stop the bleed, and rehabilitate the crew. They need us. It's essential that we do this. We were an ops team of only 6, 1 director, 2 enterprise project consultants, including myself, 1 process improvement manager, 1 strategic planner, and 1 business analyst. This is for an enterprise that was statewide and had over 9,500 employees. And yep, you might guess, this very thing that wasn't working was to be rolled out for the entire company. So we were some of the most engineering, non-technical, if you will, project professionals you'd ever seen. See, we had an IT PMO that we would tap in for business development in the nature of technology. And so the power, when we were doing this work, it really wasn't about the titles we carried at all. And it wasn't about the location of our office, even though we do believe, like real estate, it helped and absolutely mattered. We were immediately across from HR. We were just beneath the commissioner's office. And we knew people just didn't want to kind of go too wrong with us. It would have been impossible, though. It absolutely would have been impossible to know every field manager, supervisor, subject matter expert in all 159 county offices. But we believed in the dragnet approach. The dragnet approach advises that in order to be successful at anything, 1, we need to make it relatable. 2, we don't need to make moves in isolation. And 3, ask people how they're doing. Our reputation, a care for the people around us, that affected the mood, and it preceded everything. It was intentionality. Intentionality is what led us through that SaaS effort back in 2017. I upheld that belief in the dragnet approach to recover that failing project. And 1 year later, those efforts led to an unsolicited award. As you can see in this photo, it was titled Best Managed Implementation. We didn't apply for it. We didn't even know such would exist. And with the way that project started, we never could have guessed that we would have been considered for it. It was the only recognition of that accomplishment by the vendor who delivered it. And while I was the enterprise consultant, the project manager of that initiative, I was surrounded by a team, just like you see in the picture. There's nothing that we can do as project leaders alone and consider ourselves successful. Collaboration, as our previous speaker spoke so eloquently, co-create, right? Collaboration creates sustainable business. To be a sustainable business, you need collaboration. Collaboration, or I like to say on social media, community over competition, is the business activity that will promote yourself and others. Acknowledge your limitations. It allows you to be capable, but it doesn't mean that you're incompetent just because you ask for help or you recognize how much further you can go when you get it. And just because you're competent doesn't mean you have the capacity to do it. Just because you have the time doesn't mean you'll be committed to getting it accomplished. You simply may not have the passion for it. Collaborate with others. Others help make life happen. Tap into your personal and your professional networks, depending on what the initiative requires, what the ultimate outcome needs to be. Get help from who's in your inner circle. Outsource to those who can complement your business. And sometimes, depending on the size of the initiative, it's good if they do the same thing. Know who's on your side and leverage those relationships to get more done and get it done effectively. In the 3 C's, this is a business activity concept that, again, can promote your future self and others and help you as you're leading, managing, navigating nuances of people in successful business, because that's collaborating. The 3 C's is a 3-pronged approach. I've learned that it complements project management very well. We're going to break this down as we think about conversing to connect, co-creating to collaborate, and celebrating others while we're doing all of it. So that first C, conversing to connect. What do you do? Knowing who you are so that you know who you are not is vitally important. In commerce, I teach this concept that our customers are everywhere, but not everyone is our customer. We can use that in project management as well. There's so many ways to categorize our stakeholders and our internal and external customers and the roles that they play. In order to make this happen, we go to the people that we're spending the most time with, and we take that time to build rapport. We build rapport with them to get closest to the desired outcome. They know it best. If you think that's your project sponsors or the people who approve your paycheck, you might have it a little bit twisted. They've already signed off on you. They've already showed and invested their interest in you. They've already appointed you to satisfy the role as PM. It's your subject matter experts, your project team, and the people who oversee them, especially if they're different from your direct management. They need to understand where they fit in place, right? Your stakeholders, your team. They need to rationalize that this project isn't just more work to be done and possibly without extra compensation. They need to sense that they're making it an impact of their contribution to the project, their contribution to the work that can positively change the trajectory of their current work experiences. What does that look like, you might ask? It looks like being approachable. It looks like pausing long enough to say, "Hi, how are you doing?" and genuinely care. If you don't know them too personally, then you can simply ask an open-ended question. How was your summer? We're coming to the end of it. What was exciting about it? If you know what's important to people, then you know how to help encourage, inspire, and find the motivation within. And so as we move to our next C, to co-create, we co-create to collaborate. And based on the conversation that you had, you now have permission for allyship. And we're not talking about any type of fake reality TV pawns. We're talking about real human connection, understanding, and maybe even compassion that promotes project progress and or a project-related solution. Now that you know what ignites the person, because you're asked about what they care, you've asked about what they care about, and you now have a window into the opposite, what pains them, you can now tap into what pains them and get to the root of the real problem. Sometimes in project management, my very first meeting would basically be allowing people to vent. Allowing that space, that room for people to express their objections gives you the ammunition that you need to be solution oriented. It actually can bring form a realm of unification that you can advocate for the needs of your project team so that they can have what they need to be successful and deliver through it. When project teams know you've got their back, when they go hard because they know you go hard for them too, they're more likely to be honest with timelines, costs, efforts, and resources that have the potential to be derailed. You get the subject matter expert for their purpose versus their attitude. They help you build a realistic plan, and you can manage responsible expectations. Reasonable expectations is one thing that we're continuously shaping and working to keep in scope with our sponsors, our stakeholders. What do you do, TaJuanna? What do we do to co-create? Glad you asked. Literally, with every effort possible, poll the audience, get practical ideas of what can and cannot happen. Ask why and why some more. Ask for alternative options. Be solution oriented. Make sure the solutions are inclusive of others' thoughts and ideas and not just your own because you're in charge of them. You don't have to be the owner of everything to thrive as a project leader. Thinking that you do is a scarcity mindset, and it's a mindset that could cause you to self-sabotage. Project management is more about who than it is about how. And that's a book you can check out by Dan Sullivan. Where do we go to get this co-creating, this collaborating thing off the ground? Well, it's really not a trick question. Who should you be spending your time with? That's right, those subject matter experts. They're the ones closest to the work to be accomplished. They know the standard operating procedures, the SOP, and they likely created the workaround to it. Find out what's actually happening, why it's happening, where it's happening, and what it affects, how it intersects with other teams, offices, divisions, and departments. How does it look? I hate to tell you, but this is a spoiler alert. It looks like going back to that first C and having a conversation. The last C, and it's certainly not the least C, is to celebrate others. Small wins and strong friends lead to big victories. Don't wait for long-term milestones to happen before you pause and acknowledge the great work, the good work, the effective work that's actually being done right now. Believe you're there for the win. Help your team believe the same. Paint the scene for them. Show them how their work, how their effort is impacting the bigger picture. Show them the project ecosystem that you're operating in, not just the part of the swamp that sometimes they feel they're dredging through. Just because you're facing challenges, though, doesn't mean you aren't making progress. They often go hand in hand. Sometimes in life, you'll reap your success through the tears, yes, even in leadership. Every person, every person is going through something the other knows nothing about. People are grieving. They're grieving parents, spouses or companions, children, friends, income, stability, time. For so many, life has been drastically redefined. I know mine has. Has it for any of you? If you want people to come to your celebration as you do big things, as you take next steps, you've got to show up for their party too. So, what do? You give encouraging feedback. Where do you go? Another spoiler alert. Back to those subject matter experts, those close stakeholders, those team members. How does it look? Third spoiler alert. It looks like going back to that first C and having the conversation, getting to know and caring about others. Tell them how they've made a difference, how they've made an impact, and how you've been positively influenced by their involvement. Tell them how you and your coalition of resources, your leadership, can help them solve their problems, their oppositions. Are you seeing a theme here? I hope that you are, and I hope that you're feeling encouraged if you're doing this. And if you're not yet doing it, it's okay. It's certainly not too late to get started. And here are 4 steps that'll help you through it. Sustainability is choosing the maintainable way to replicate action and set yourself up for future success. So, to that, I now share these 4 proven steps for taking quick action, right? We like quick wins in project management to go from new and profitable ideas to launching them. It's called the done formula. We must consider it's not our extraordinary ideas that are too great. Oh no, it's not that. It's that we have unreasonable expectations for managing them. So, in order to get things done, you see that? DONE, you want to decide what and who you need to develop you and your idea. A large part of our impact identity is how and when it's formed. Being aware of this helps us to listen and convey what's important to us as well as to others so that it's relatable and more widely accepted. When we own our knowledge, we own our skill, our ability, our resources, and our schedule. These are things that you likely already paid for or invested in. When we nurture, we have an increased ability to follow a roadmap. And remember, while we like project plans, we aren't always guaranteed they're going to go exactly as we planned them. We can converse. We can co-create to collaborate. We can congratulate, celebrate others to get to the big finish. We rise as project leaders by lifting others. A goal without that roadmap, that plan, is just a wish. All of these things are essential, critical elements to make sure we actually are pursuing effective project management. And then executing, backing it to a calendar, being super intentional, naming, itemizing tangible and intangible deliverables, identifying and assigning tasks to make sure there's ownership, accountability, time stamping these things, dedicating a start and a finish. You know this. You know this all too well. It is so easily slipped through when we're trying so hard to achieve a goal and we lose sight of the people factor that actually helps us navigate the dragnet approach, getting things done and being effective. In all sincerity, by any moral means necessary, we want to do what it takes to get things done. But if you want to go fast, you'll find yourself having to go alone. But if you want to go far, you'll go together. Collaboration, conversation, co-creation, celebration. All of them help you connect with why building relationships gets your business to sustainability faster, and why the impact then goes so much farther. Increasing your value and visibility through collaboration to promote sustainable business is not just happenstance. It takes intentionality. Thank you so much to the PMO, the Bridge Conference, for this opportunity to share with you. Feel free to connect with me.
TaJuanna, thank you so much. It was absolutely, well, I would say it was like energetic blast to all of us, because this is already late afternoon here in Lithuania, but maybe not all people in the audience know what is the time in your place now. It's really early hours, right?
That's right. It's 8:22 a.m. here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think, what is your day when your morning start like this?
Well, I'm a mom, so it was going to start early either way.
Okay, but people still sleeping or no?
Possibly.
Possibly, okay. After after your presentation, I think nobody sleeps, even neighbors, they already woke up. So, I will check if we have some questions, guys. If you have some question, just raise your hand, or if we have any question online, we would like to hear that. My question is to you, TaJuanna. What do you think, what is the main cement of collaboration? Because if you want to make good concrete, you need good cement. So where to find that cement?
It's in valuing human capital, right? So when we think about collaboration, it's not so much in objects, it's in people. It's bringing people together to then maximize or optimize the resources. So before you add water and the stirring paddle to the cement, you want to have that essential element. You want to have that component, and having the right people at the table, having conversations to figure out who they are even, and having the courage to ask for them if they're not present. Valuing human capital, not seeing them as just an expense. Anytime you see people as only as an expense, you've already lost your momentum, and you've certainly lost your human connection. And it will always seem expensive.
So it is one more C, cement, for the collaboration. Yeah. Thank you so much, TaJuanna. Once again, let's share a round of applause live from the United States of America. Many thanks to TaJuanna M. Taylor.